Some leave graffiti behind after they establish themselves in the professional art world. Why haven't you? What keeps you bombing?
You know, graffiti is probably one of the most liberating things I know to do. It's kind of brings everything back to balance. It's almost like when surfers describe how they feel when they go surfing. To me, it's like surfing. You know, it's my moment to just zone out and be in the moment with what I'm doing. I don't have to think about my bills. I don't have to think about fighting with my girlfriend. All that shit just disappears. It goes out the window. I'm just there in the moment. And nothing else in my life gives me that moment of just zoning out and being in the zone with what I'm doing, you know? So to me, it's just, it's therapy. It's part of what I do because that's what I know to do. And it still interacts with my art career, but I find it spreading or moving apart from each other, and it doesn't matter. I'm never gonna stop doing my art, and I'm never gonna stop doing my graffiti. They're both part of what I do, but I don't see myself as a one-sided individual. I see like there's lots of facets of what I do, and it just becomes another thing in my repertoire.
In other interviews, you've mentioned psychedelics. It seems they've had a big impact on your mind and spirituality. What psychedelics have you tried, and how do they affect the way you see graffiti?
So early on, my buddy Pat introduced me to acid at my first junior high party when I was in 7th grade. And that really changed the way I view the world. It made me question and challenge everything I was being taught in school, everything my parents were teaching me. It basically like gave me a whole other perspective. I think for me, it liberated me from being part of mainstream culture. It made me view TV as a waste of time. It made me view a lot of the interests that other people had as just like, that's just a distraction. Like that shit doesn't matter. It helped me, it also helped me find myself in a way, because I had a big chip on my shoulder. I was kind of an egomaniac at some point in my early years, like when I was like 18. And I had a very heavy experience that some people would call a bad trip, but you know, in the psychedelic lingo, we don't say that. We call that a difficult experience, you know, but it was the most grounding. I thought I was like the king of the world, and that experience showed me I'm not the king of the world. And if I want to become that, I have a lot of work to do, and I need to stay humble and stay on the path and check myself. And it really made me do that. I think it almost saved my life. I was on a path, definitely I was going to run off a cliff. You know, and it changed my path. It slowed me down. It made me be more thoughtful about my steps, about how I affected the people around me. It made me a more sensitive and caring person to the people around me, I think, in a lot of ways. It also, you know, it helped solidify the fact that the society's bullshit, and these substances help us kind of see that, whether it's reducing our ego or lifting the veil of our everyday distractions, and help us find a little bit, they help us look within ourselves sometimes. I think a lot of times that's why people have bad trips. They look inside and they realize, shit, man, I have this mask on, and I finally took it off, and I'm living all these lies. I really feel this way, but I act this way, you know? And it's helped me find the path where my actions are closer to how I actually feel, and I stop trying to live for others, and stop giving a fuck about putting up a mask for people, and just be truer to myself. And as far as substances that I tried, you know, I've tried most of the psychedelics, mushrooms, LSD, ayahuasca, DMT, all that stuff. It's all very beautiful, powerful, profound. I don't think, you know, I've partied with these substances, but I don't view them as party substances. I hold them in the highest regard and with the utmost respect. I generally take them when I feel I'm in a close circle with really tight people that I trust, and I'm in a safe space, and I'm ready to just let go, open up, and let them show me what they need to show me.
When you walked in for our interview, right away we noticed your shirt. Can you tell us something about your shirt, the shirt you're wearing?
This is Maria Savina, la Maestra. She was the priestess or shaman that showed Westerners about mushrooms. People would, like the Beatles, a lot of people, Sasha Shulgin, a bunch of the original psychedelic pioneers would go to her, and she would teach them. She would let them have their first experience. She would teach them how to select their mushrooms, how to dose themselves. And through her, information about psychedelics was disseminated to the rest of the world, and everybody that has ever done mushrooms owes a debt of gratitude to her, because without her, the rest of us wouldn't know about them. It would be still part of the Mazatec community in Oaxaca. You know, they would be theirs, but the rest of us now have them because of her.
Who educates you of her history?
You know, randomly, she's a figure you know, although my parents don't engage in these types of substances, she's a figure in Mexican culture that's fairly well known. And I believe the first time I heard about her was my mom telling me, oh yeah, she's the Maestra. People go with her up in the mountains in Oaxaca to do mushrooms. My mom's friends had all done it and all that. So I think I was probably a child when I first heard about her and her existence and her contribution.